What's up, space pirates? This is your captain, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster, and it seems we have an answer to that age-old question. What is more popular and entertaining, modern Doctor Who or touching grass? Well, it turns out that the grass wins.
Come on, man, bring it! Come on, bring it!
Ncuti Gatwa told us to go outside and touch grass instead of watch his version of Doctor Who if we don't like the current direction, and people are taking his advice. The ratings for the latest episode of Doctor Who have just dropped, and things are looking pretty grim for Ncuti and his show. They thought they could lure people in to watching this episode with Steven Moffat returning to write it, but people were not fooled.
It's a trick. Get an axe.
Alright, me hearties, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also, don't forget to follow me over on Twitter, where my handle is Dr. Disaster 1. But let's have a gander at the overnight ratings of the latest Doctor Who episode, titled Boom, and written by Steven Moffat. As I said yesterday, this episode was actually leaps and bounds better than the first two. There were still a lot of moments when I rolled my eyes, but overall it had much better writing and acting, but it didn't matter. People are done and over with this shit. This article just dropped from Radio Times. The headline reads, Doctor Who ratings revealed for Steven Moffat return. Boom. And then, right underneath there, it says the episode was first released on BBC iPlayer at midnight.
Isn't that cute?
That's them trying to woke-splain to us, justifying the lack of popularity for their ridiculous worldview. They are still going with the BBC iPlayer excuse. I guess nobody was buying it when they blamed it on the weather. But you know what? We're going to read what the actual overnight numbers were for this thing, and then we're going to make a calculation to estimate how many people actually watched on the BBC iPlayer, which isn't factored into the overnight numbers. The article reads, the overnight ratings for Doctor Who's new episode Boom, penned by former showrunner Steven Moffat, have been revealed. Boom had an overnight audience of 2.04 million people on BBC One in the UK. Of course, that figure isn't the full story, as it does not include those who watched on BBC iPlayer in the hours leading up to the episode airing on BBC One.
You are one pathetic loser. No offense. No, none taken.
Man, it is sad to watch them cling to this excuse so desperately. But let's blow it up, shall we? This report here was released last year, indicating that the BBC iPlayer represents only 15% of BBC viewers, and as it says in this paragraph here, the percentage of viewing on the BBC iPlayer does not seem to be growing significantly. The previous year it was 16%, the year before that it was 13%. So, that number doesn't sound like it's really growing, but even if it did, even if we gave them a huge benefit of the doubt and assumed that more people than usual watched on the iPlayer because the episode was released early on that format, let's say it went up to 20%, and that number is likely much too high, but if the iPlayer accounted for 20% of viewers, then we'd be looking at 510,000 extra people. That would mean still, it was only 2,550,000 people that watched the episode.
Where did everybody go?
Well, This is what happens when the people who make a TV show tell their audience that if you don't like our controversial direction, then go touch grass. This is what happens when you do not appreciate your customers and you try to push ideology over entertainment. Because, as the Radio Times article tells us later on, this third episode was a significant drop from the prior episodes. It says here the overnight ratings for Boom have taken a dip after the season's launch, which saw 2.6 million viewers tune in for episode 1, Space Babies, and 2.4 million for episode 2, The Devil's Cord. So let's do the math on these two. If BBC iPlayer viewers accounted for 20% of Space Babies' audience, then there were 3,250,000 viewers for the episode. And for The Devil's Cord, there would have been roughly 3 million viewers, if we assumed the BBC iPlayer accounted for 20%. Those numbers are still massively low compared to the 5 million that David Tennant's return in the Star Beast brought, and they are still a far cry from the 4.73 million that the Christmas special brought in several months ago. In other words, there is no good excuse for this shit. It turns out that the current direction of Doctor Who, where they preach at us incessantly instead of entertaining and delighting us, is staggeringly unpopular, because it's no longer Doctor Who. It has become Doctor.
What the hell is even that?
But I'm going to leave it there. It looks like Touching Grass remains the current undefeated champion of the world after Ncuti Gatwa told us to go and do it. But what do you think about these numbers? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and we will talk there.
Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.